It's that time again. It's the Berkey and the Badger Board Game Babble Show. It's going to get wild. It's going to get wacky. It might even get a little zany. We're going to talk about board games and the board game industry. And, you know, we might talk about anything else we want to talk about.
Hey, hey, hey! It's the Berkey and the Badger Board Game Babble Show! Welcome to this wonderful... Okay, I just hit record. So we're going to start all over. How you like those apples?
Yeah. Take two.
Take two. And like we're doing a professional podcast. Sometimes you're supposed to do it professionally with like headphones.
All right.
Oh, yeah, baby. Here it is. Welcome to the Berkey and Badger Board Game Babble Show.
Have we started again?
We are talking about conventions. What did I do wrong?
Take three.
Welcome to the Berkey and Badger Board Game Babble Show. Today, we welcome you to this illustrious show and to the Kingdom of Babylon to talk about our amazing convention experiences.
Yay.
There you go. Yes. What else are we going to do?
Oh, what else are we going to do? Oh, we're just going to maybe do some, I don't know. We're going to talk about conventions. Or we can also do things that make the king go, But I don't know if there's anything which makes the king go, at the moment.
Things that make the king go, Well, should we jump right into that thing?
We can do.
Well, the thing that made me go, I'm going to try to pull it up here real quick. I left my iPad in the other room. See if I can find it real quick. I can probably just do it by memory, but.
Welcome to the Seat of Your Pants episode.
There it is. ICV2.
Oh, those guys. I know them.
You know those guys. These guys talk about a lot of stuff. So I should check the chat here real quick to make sure we see if we have any comments here.
Yeah, we got Tim. Tim's in the
Tim's
castle.
There. He's in the castle. Wonderful.
Brought out the hat.
Yeah, this is Convention Berkey.
Yeah.
So put on the hat.
That's lucky it's not kosher Berkey.
Okay, so a couple things in the news. We're talking about conventions, so we're going to talk about Gencon. We're going to talk about Origins. We're going to talk about a couple places you've been, right?
Yeah, just some little doobie-doos in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, we'll talk about them.
Well, I'm trying to find the post, and sometimes it's not always in the same one. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm going to the ICV2 report. This makes for great radio, me scrolling through my phone, right? Okay, what I'm looking for, so I can give you better specifics, is the sales numbers of, gosh, it's just not showing up. I had it up on my iPad too. So Barry, talk for a second. I'm going to go grab the report.
Yeah, and then I can do probably a second edit. Yes, so welcome to the show. This is episode 102, another great show. And when I say that, I don't mean our show is going to be great. I'm on about shows in general, conventions and festivals. Because recently, Berkey and I have been catching up and doing festivals and conventions. Berkey has been to Origins, and he's just got back from Gencon. Whereas myself, I've just been to beginning of July. It was Paris Ludique, and after that, I went to Flip. There you go. I'll put that graphic up there so we can see 4 different conventions events that we're going to talk about in this show primarily. But we are going to start with things that make the king go, And, oh, yes, he has his tablet.
Okay.
That was good timing.
Discombobulated Berkey is back. We just got back from Gencon, and it's such a wild whirlwind. I was just in a couple business meetings that went late. So it was like, oh boy, here we go. So I have found the report. Now we're talking about things that make the king go, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, this was reported August 7th from ICV2. And it says, the title of this is Hasbro, WOTC, WOTC, Wizards of the Coast, and digital gaming down in quarter number 2. Hasbro writes off $25 million on the D&D movie. Okay, that was an interesting, what about that movie? I haven't actually watched it yet, but I wanna.
It's coming out soon.
Well, I think it's streaming right now. I think you can see it.
Okay.
Maybe you don't have it there yet.
No, it comes out on DVD, Blu-ray. I think it's the 18th of September.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, the thing that made me go is this. Okay, sales at Wizards of the Coast digital gaming segment were down 11% in quarter 2 from $419.8 million down to $375.6 million. Just not very much money.
No.
With Hasbro also taking a $25 million write-off for Dungeons and Dragons. So I think they need write-offs actually. So Magic the Gathering was the biggest reason for the sales decline. Magic sales were down 15% from $365 million in quarter 2 from $311 in quarter 2 of 2022, or $311 in 2023, excuse me. 22 it was $365, 23 it was $311. Okay, first half, Magic the Gathering sales are down 4% from $562 million in 22 to $540 million. Boy, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But then they start talking about Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond, that Lord of the Ring, Tales of Middle-earth is released. And they're expecting that a bulk of their revenue will be in quarter 3. Okay, well, we know about all this. There's a ton of other data about the financials and talks about what they're writing off, blah, 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 blah. Several things that made me go, about this.
Okay.
The first thing was, okay, they still make a potload of money. Well, then this whole them being able to do the One Ring, and then this person gets the One Ring card that finds it, he immediately goes and gets it graded. It gets graded at a 9.1 or something by this expensive grading house. Cost him $10,000. Well, just this week it was reported that Post Malone, the artist, bought it for $2 million.
What, a card?
A card, the foil Lord of the Rings Magic the Gathering card, whatever.
Right.
So this stuff blows my mind. It just totally freaking blows my mind. It blows my mind so much that people are in such a frenzy about these things. It just makes me go, and then it actually makes me scratch my head, and to where I lose my hair type of thing. There's a little bit of hair loss going on. Not too bad, but it's still gone. That's really pulling my hair about other things. The Disney Lorcana card game. Okay, the lines at Gencon were like crazy. They had this Lorcana frenzy, they called it, where people got smashed against the wall and got almost trampled.
My God.
Because people were waiting, and then they took that and ran it all the way down. Kabuki Kid is here! Hey! That magic card was like the golden ticket, basically the golden ticket. Yeah, it's like crazy. But the frenzy at Gencon, a whole palette of Magic the Gathering. I thought it was Lorcana based on what everybody was talking about. No, it wasn't Lorcana. It was a whole palette of Magic cards that they have pictures of a guy grabbing a pallet jack and taking off, and this whole pallet was valued at $300,000. It was a half pallet. It wasn't that much.
Yeah.
300,000, 100,000 for a little pallet of cards.
Oh, cards or dollars?
It equated to dollars, but
Yeah,
it was
okay.
just cards on this pallet. They
Yeah.
didn't steal $300,000.
Right.
They stole $300,000 worth of cards.
Mm.
I don't know. Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is kind of a lottery. That's why people probably went a bit berserk for it. You saying about the Locana? Big queue for
Yes.
Locana.
Like Dan King got in line, and he waited a couple hours. He
Yeah.
got 2 sets of it, and I saw him playing a game with
Robert.
Robert Siri.
Yeah.
And Robert was one of the guys that got smushed against the wall.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen any photos of him in bandages or anything yet. So
No, I don't think it was bandaged, but it was like a jelly splat. You know, you just something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think about these numbers of okay, sales are down, economy's down.
Yeah.
When we went to Gencon, we're going to talk about later, there was absolutely no indication of that.
No.
People were buying at a crazy frenzy. Some of the publishers, I think there was 12 of them, ran out of stock the second day and combined to send a team to Atlanta, Georgia, to the PSI warehouse and truck a whole truckload of new product in. And they all went together so they could have a product in their booth. I know Chad from 25th Century Games had to do that, and I know a couple others. Clay from Capstone Games has his warehouse in Cincinnati. They went up and made another run, although it's only probably 4 hours, but still 8-hour round trip, run back and forth, whatever it is. Sales were incredibly brisk. Arcane Wonders, our wonderful sponsor, Arcane Wonders. And we're going to talk about the Call of Duty room and all the things that Arcane Wonders does. But they had the World Wonders game, which is actually 4th on the BGG hotness list. They had 500 copies. They sold out in 2 hours. The line was all the way around the booth, and they had a big 30-foot booth, and people were lined up all the way around the booth, and it just kept filling. So you thought the line would start at the sales table? No, that was the back of the line. That went all the way around, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
And I didn't even I sponsored the show, and I said, Robert, I really need a copy, and I was trying to get a copy for my attorney too, and I didn't even get a copy.
Oh.
So it was like, boom, it was all gone.
Yeah.
And that's the way so many publishers, their stuff just flew off the shelf. Several companies only had a few copies that they air freighted, like one of the big hits. Now I'm talking about Gencon already, but Arcane Wonders had an amazing booth, but they had their big launch of their Kickstarter, Call of Duty. Okay.
Yeah.
This was in the room 125, and Game Toppers, we brought 12 Game Toppers with our brand new Desert Dune map. It was amazing. Maybe you've got some pictures of that, Barry. We're just running right into our sponsorship spot.
No. We're going into the sponsor.
Well, I'm doing it right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even notice. I was just.
This is like amazing segue prowess. It's like I was a professional or something. It was so smooth, you didn't even know it.
No, I didn't even notice it, mate. So let's Arcane Wonders. We're now going to be talking about Arcane Wonders, sponsor of the Berkey and Badger board game Babble show.
Well, they were showing off the new World Wonders game, but here's the Call of Duty trailer. In this room, do you have pictures of the room that I sent you from Facebook that you can share? All right. Say, look at
you
this.
Say stop. You say stop.
Just keep going down. Keep going. There you go. A little more. Little more. Little more. Okay, a little more. We're almost there. Here we go. Here we go. You can go to Game Toppers LLC and find all kinds of cool stuff from Gencon, by the way. We're going to do more of this later, but okay, we're almost there. All right, there. Right there. That video.
That one.
Yep.
Okay.
Play that bad boy.
Okay.
Can people hear it?
No.
Okay, you can't hear it, but you're seeing all these different characters. These were floor signs, actually, that I'm showing. And look at the signage. There were these huge signs going in. And now you go into the Call of Duty room. There's 12 game toppers with our new Desert Dune map. And there's 12 individual games set up to play Call of Duty. This room was crammed full almost all the time. Even towards the end of the day, it would just get crammed. The production that Robert and the team did, Brian Pope and Benjamin Pope, the designers, they have put their whole heart into this. And we were a small part of trying to make that space look really great. And it just was a sight to behold, I got to tell you. It was really cool. And the people that came out of that room playing this game were so enthusiastic. They just loved the moments. There was all kinds of smiles and just, you could feel the energy from all the people. And the Call of Duty game is actually on Kickstarter from Arcane Wonders right now. There's the QR code if you're watching the video, but you can go to their website. You can see all the things that are happening, all the stretch goals. They're like at 200% funded. I don't think they're really what they were hoping this would be, but there's a lot of activity right now at Gencon, and there's a ton of information going out. And this game is getting really well reviewed. So highly encourage you to check out Arcane Wonders, Call of Duty, all the new titles that they just launched at Gencon, and arcanewonders.com. There you go.
Yep, there's
Super
12
cool.
days to go on the Kickstarter if you're interested in pledging. So, yeah, look out for that.
You can go down there. You can see all these cool things that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some really cool miniatures. The card art and everything is amazing, like you'd expect.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched the trailer and I was...
Hey,
nice.
Barry Westman's here. Awesome. I love seeing the chat about you. Internet issues. I know.
Did you play it or?
I didn't get a chance. We're going to talk about our experiences from our conventions. We're going to start about Origins, but I'll finish up on my part talking about Gen Con. I'll tell you some of our experiences. So basically, that's going to be the segue of going into the Babble topic.
And now it's time for the
Babble, 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 Berkey and Badger's board game Babble.
So Barry, you've been to a couple shows
Mm-hmm.
in Europe. Do you want to talk about one of your shows?
Yeah, I'll start with the first one, which would be Paris Ludique. Paris Ludique always takes place on the first weekend of July. And that's not the photos that I was looking for. Let's see if... Oh, yeah, there we go. And let's put them over here, and let's screen share, and boom! Paris Ludique is 2 days in the sun. It's in the Pelouse de Riley. And it takes place every year. I think it's a 10th edition or 11th edition. I forgot to check it up beforehand. Zoot. But you can go there, and it's mainly a family thing. There are lots of young children as well as adults and teens of different sizes. This image here is of the jeux au volonté, which means that they're basically the games that anyone can play. So you go to a table and take one of these games with you and play it and whatever. There are massive queues to get in each morning. They do all kinds of games. So as you can see, there's like street games here. So that like you put your hand in, you got to guess what the object is, and it's a little competition to win a little game. And I try to go there every year. This year we went with my friend Guillaume and his family. I invited my family to go as well because I thought it'd be good, our two families together, because we know each other very well. We played Codenames a lot together. But no, my family didn't want to go. And so, it was just us. And again, there's lots of events. Like there was like lightsaber fighting, and as you can see, there's these kind of like gladiator.
Everybody was lightsaber fighting. It was fast as lightning.
Yeah. So apparently, there were 180,000 visits over the 2 days. So that might be a case of, you buy a weekend badge and you get counted twice. But as you can see, there are hundreds of people that help organize this event. And these are probably people from associations in Paris and around Paris who have their gaming clubs and the gaming groups. And they all chat to each other and they say, right, let's organize. You be responsible for the food. You be responsible for helping play with young children. You be responsible for this, that, and the other. And they set this all up with all the publishers from France and a few not from France. There's dexterity games. There's quizzes going around to win games. I don't know what that was, but it was like a phone thing. You scan the scanner thing, and then you answer a question, or you put in your details, and it's like a lotto. All games for all different ages. So Pick a Pig is there. If you don't know what Pick a Pig is, it's a game. It's a small game where you got two pigs and you roll them, and however they lie it's like gambling. So you like gamble on, that one's going to be stood up and one's going to be on its back, and so you lance the dice and you bet on it. Okay. There were lots of publishers and authors doing signings of their games. There were animators. Again, as I said, these are the people that have their own association in Paris. They go around and entertain people, do little parades. More publishers. That's Matthew from Sorry We Are French. There's figurine games. So your Warhammer, the latest games, tabletop miniature games, battles there. There are prototypes, the Jeux de Demain, for people to play. There, as I said, autographs from people like Theo Rivière, who's signing for
Salt and Pepper was a huge hit at Gencon, and there was none of them available. They had pre-orders and it sold out.
Wow. Yeah, they had trouble getting hold of some copies here in Europe as well. And I was speaking to Jan at Paris Ludique. There's a section for young children. So there's games for 3 to 4 to 5 year olds. So we were there a bit with Guillaume's daughter Zelda. Historic games. So there's war games. There's a game that ran out on the first day. Doggerland. And the two designers. I know Jeremy there. But it's all well organized and laid out. Luckily, the weather was good. Apart from Saturday morning, there was a bit of rain. As I said, this is an outdoor event. And they do all kinds of things, like these kind of like games that you can stop at a pillar and play, little puzzles. And you go around and you fill them out on your sheet. And at the end of the day, when you leave, you hand the sheet in. And again, another prize can be won. Hundreds and thousands of people doing dexterity playing games with kids. There's the giant games as well, which were quite fun to play with. The wooden games, famous people, big old barbecue, so you can get like a hot dog and chips. There's Lucky Duck doing some kind of announcement. It's a fun day in the sun. Hopefully not too sunny, because there was one year I got burnt a bit. But yeah, I got to play some really cool games, like this one called K9. This is the giant version. This is like a mountaineering game, but it's like a puzzle game with 3-dimensional blocks as you build your own mountain. And then as players together, you build another mountain, and you can only put one of your pieces from the top of your mountain onto the existing mountain, but the colors have got to touch. If you can't place it, then you're blocked, and that's it. You're eliminated. There's David my good friend David Bartello demoing his game Hereditary, which is coming soon. And as I said, it's always nicely laid out. It could be bigger. It could be bigger. There could be so many things. These are some of the games that I played. Ooh, ghosts. But yeah, Paria Ludique every year, weekend. Normally it's very, very sunny. Sometimes it's windy. Sometimes you get like stones thrown in your face. But yeah, it's a great family outdoor event. And I think a lot of locals just turn up just for a day out, you know, instead of going to a theme park or something. Whereas gamers from all over France would just flock there.
How warm was it?
It was quite warm. It was up in the high 20s, 28s, if I remember. It was hot, but it wasn't, you know, burning hot and scalding hot. I didn't feel the need to drink all the time. They had all kinds of
28 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit.
82.
82 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes, what a guess.
See, that's using AI technology live on a show. That's like live AI. You got to experience it on the Berkey and Badger Board Game Babble show. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So I got to play a lot of kiddies games because, as I said, we were Gim's family, and so we were entertaining Zelda most of the time. We didn't get away to play any big games. I managed to catch up with a few people like Jan and my good friend Philip, and we bumped into someone we used to play games with, Jib. We haven't seen in a while. But yeah, it was just a grand one day out for us, just to catch up and see things. Again, Guillaume and Marin haven't been to a festival since they had Zelda, and they're like big festival fans. They go to like most of them. They go to Essen. They go to Ludinor, Cannes. No, they don't go to Cannes. But yeah, so yeah, if you're in France, beginning of July, it's a nice day out. But that's just one of my events that I've been to. I've been to another one, but before I talk about that one, maybe you want to interject. Maybe a question. Has anyone got questions about?
Yeah, we've got a few people in the chat here. Barry is here, and Tim and Kabuki Kid. Do you have any questions for Barry about these experiences over there in Europe?
Because again, they're very different to what you have in the States. You have these big conventions, but do you have like an outdoor festival like this? I don't know. I've never heard of one. I've never heard Tom Vassell talk about one.
It feels really risky to me, having a show outdoors with cardboard and wind, and that seems like if you had a really windy day, how do they deal with that so you don't have cards flying all over the place?
You know that there's these things on the floor called stones. You pick them up and you just stick them on the decks of cards.
Seriously?
Seriously. I have seen a few tents being blown over by sudden gusts of wind, but again, it's in a park, so it's like it's a big open area surrounded by trees. So most of the trees absorb most of the wind from there.
So we go to a lot of I shouldn't say a lot, but we've been to different Ren fairs and circus type things and a lot of those outdoor venues, but I just never think of board games in that light. I think of maybe outdoor games, but
yeah, but I think the French just count games as general. I mean, you've got quite a lot of outdoor activities going on there. They do like the Harry Potter Quidditch arena. They do, as I said, the lightsaber fighting. They have people do that. They also have.
But it was lightsaber driving.
They also have not Quirkle. Oh, what's it called with the wooden batons? The wooden. Oh, I can't remember. But you know, all those kind of like dexterity throwing things at things, or they have like giant Tetris pieces, and it's a team game. You've got to make a certain shape, so it's like La Boca, but it's a team thing. Everyone's got their own personal Tetris shape, and then they show a picture, and then everyone's got to make it within the quickest time as possible. So they do kinds of big things like that outdoors, which is really good. And as I said, they do these little processes.
Did you say how many people were there?
Yeah, apparently they had a count of 180,000 people over a weekend.
180,000 unique?
No. As I said, it's probably for the 2-day event. If you going both days, you're counted as 2 people.
Well, that's bigger than Gencon.
Yeah, but there's, as I said, there's a lot of kids. They do cater for the young. So, I mean, as I said, Parisians who live local or, catch the underground and go there with their kids just for a day out. And so you'll see like a parent and a couple of kids walking around, they know chess and they know Monopoly, but they don't know all this and that and the other. And they're quite happy just to learn these new games. And you see people just, the young kids teaching their parents how to play games, which is quite funny as well. Wow. But it's just a day out. It's like an activity. It's like a fete. It's like a festival or barbecue, outside barbecue. But this is organized. Stefan, I think his name is. He organizes it and gets all the French publishers to turn up. And there's another one like this in Belgium. The good thing there is they serve beer everywhere. So there's like a little beer tent at the end of every aisle. So the Belgium have got it right.
Well, it does sound like a lot of fun. Tim says it sounds great, though. And then Kabuki has a question or statement question.
Yeah. Never understood actually playing Quidditch. Yeah. It's a bit of a dumb sport. It's that Twitch thing. Yeah. I didn't know. I haven't watched Harry Potter. I watched bits of it, and that's it.
Why do they play the rest of the game if that wins? Okay, yeah. I don't even know what they're talking about. So
no.
Well, I'll jump in now to go back in time. Gonna go back in time. Still thinking about Kung Fu fighting. It's hard to go from Kung Fu fighting to Huey Lewis and the News. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but we say everybody was playing Call of Duty.
I have a funny story when we're going to talk about Gencon. Okay. Specifically about this. So we just got back from Origins at the end of June. So it wasn't that far away, but it's a little bit old news. But we haven't really had a chance to talk about it on the show yet. I sent you a link, Barry, in the messenger of the actual Facebook post. There's quite a few photos there. A lot of them are just photos of our backers. We meet so many people that own our Game Toppers, and it's just such a blessing. I mean, I can't tell you how much I appreciate. Oftentimes they see me in my top hat and they come over and see me if I'm walking through the hall or whatever. Hey, we got this topper and we just thank you for making this topper. We can't believe that we actually can afford to get one and they're so high quality, and they just thank me. And I'm going, no, thank you. I mean, I can't believe that it's taken off like it has. And I'm so encouraged to meet all of the backers. You see a picture there of our team. We have the best teams, I got to tell you. You're seeing my good friend Barry Seidel there, the tall one in the middle. Sam Healy, oh yeah, baby. Joseph, our warehouse worker, came with, and man, he led the team. He was amazing. Scott Walton, such a great friend, and you got Larry and Amy there, and then Ryan and his wife Sarah. And then we've got Brian Lemming also. Just such an amazing team. There was a lot of backers. That's Jeremy from Jambalaya Games and Evan from who designed Call of Empires. Or did I say
After
that right?
the Empire?
After the Empire from Gray Fox Games. You're going to just see an awful lot of pictures here of backers. We can just, I did get a chance, if you scroll through, to meet Martin Wallace.
All right.
Was so happy about that. Just had a really good time talking to them. Good old Lance Meister was in on there. These are all happy backers. Yeah, it's so fun being able to connect with these people. You can go a little faster maybe, or is it scrolling on its own?
Oh, that's Martin Wallace there.
Yeah, there's Martin. Of course, we got that big honking top hat above our, I think this picture here was one of, but you're going to see Lance Meister, but good old Ralphie Ralphie here, the new, one of the big things that happened at this, as these are scrolling through, was you are now looking at the new, if you don't know, the new world's champion of baseball highlights 2045. And of course, I got the Commissioner Ralph trophy. There's John Stacy, CEO of Gamma and the Origin Show, getting a picture with Ralphie. Now, Ralphie, this new trophy that you see, if you scroll to me, you see him in my little picture there. All right. Ralphie, he was getting a little insecure because the previous owner would take pictures with his little grin. We'll say it nicely like that, his grin. Yeah, my hat, it does look like Pikachu's butt. For those of you that don't know, that was another great big inflatable at a show. So hashtag meet under the top hat. Ralphie, we're playing the baseball. I end up winning the title. And to Dan King, the Game Boy Geek's chagrin. So a little fun there. I'll tell you another story about that in Gencon. We win the trophy, but Phil would take these pictures with notable people. He works at the Pentagon, even with an Air Force general. There's King Richard, Scott, and Nicole Brown. Don't you love the way I'm swirling back and forth between these stories? It's so exciting. That's the way my mind works. Daryl Andrews, got to love him.
Daryl Andrews, yeah.
There's Eric from Japamine Games. And so anyway, of course, Justin from Restoration Games, Travis from Queen Games had one of our big game toppers showing off Marrakesh. Here we go to the Schmitz. So just stop on that one. Go back down. Right there. Just stop for a second. Let me finish my story. So we get the trophy, and the trophy represents Ralph Anderson, who is one of the lead designers and one of the best Baseball Highlights 2045 players. Mike Fitzgerald designed the game. Philip Millman is actually an amazing player. The guy can remember every card that was played and which ones you played in which order. I mean, it's kind of remarkable, actually. He's a very good player. Played him many, many times. Anyway, the trophy gets handed down to me, and instead of Ralph, the Ralph Anderson trophy, now I've affectionately called it the Ralphie. It's Ralphie's, and we're rebranding a little bit because he got tired of people rolling his eyes. An Air Force general that works at the Pentagon with Philip rolled his eyes. Well, Ralphie didn't know at the time that they were rolling their eyes at Philip, not him. But there's a little inferiority complex, so we're rebranding, and people are now celebrating Ralphie, and he's having so many amazing experiences. You can follow him on the Board Game Group and follow him on the Board Game Spotlight on Facebook and some of the other Game Topper Nation Facebook. We got adventures, moments with Ralphie. You're going to enjoy them. So anyway, now he's being celebrated. At Origins, we go with the Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast to Schmidt's Sausage House. This is this little German village. It's awesome. The sausages are like, just bring them on in, baby. And we had so much fun at the Sausage House. There was lots of shenanigans that happened at the Sausage House. So if you're at Columbus, Ohio, and you have a night to go to dinner or whatever, go to Schmidt's. I think you'll really enjoy us. Rick is here. Welcome, Rick. We got to get together and play some games, brother. And here you're saying more of our backers. Just let that thing scroll a little quicker. Maybe it doesn't let you. Thing that I found there. Oh, there you go. Stop right there. Grant Lyon. Go back up. Grant Lyon, the comedian, has done comedy for 18 years. Now he does board game comedy and board game content with Grant's Gaming Rec. He does a lot of stuff. He owns one of our game toppers. We've kind of become friends. And he did a big event at our booth where we gave away a mat and people came and rolled dice, and it was an hour meet and greet with him. And he's so much fun. If you go check out his videos where he's falling down the stairs at Origins, I mean, every time I watch it, it's just belly laugh, milk snorting out of your nose laughing. He just cracks me up. But Grant just did such a fun job at Origins doing this giveaway. The people would roll dice, and if they rolled a certain amount, they got a prize. If they rolled a lower amount, they still got a prize, but then the top winners got a Game Topper game mat. And it was just one of those fun moments that we had at Origins. There's the winner of the map actually there with Grant. So that was kind of cool. It's a Frenzy. There's Daniel Cervantes, good friends of mine. Of course, Arcane Wonders. Robert Geislinger is just, there's Dan King, the Game Boy Geek, baby. Other backers. That baseball highlights tournament is such a fun thing. I was so exhausted, I almost didn't go to it. Do you believe that? I almost didn't go. And here we're at the Thunderworks board game booth with Tim Vining. We have so many publishers that have Game Toppers, so it's really cool to see all of those guys. And again, we just had customer after customer coming over to the booth. We had some special giveaways where you got a Game Topper game tote with purchase and a Game Topper pin and so forth. Some of the other highlights that I wanted to talk about real quickly, and then I'll stop talking here, but is the Origins Awards were listed. And I'm going to go through that real quick with you for the Origins Award winners. It's fine if you want to keep scrolling, but I'm going to just go through the list of what happened there. Retail Game of the Year was Boop by Smirk and Laughter Games. Now, Boop is this really fun little cat game where they're on a cushion, and it's kind of like a chess type of game where you're pushing the cat off of the cushion is basically what you're trying to do. And it's really neat, actually. And so that is from the designer Scott Brady, and he's got the big hit Hues and Clues. Well, people are really loving that. I saw it first at the, now you're in Gencon photos there, I think.
Oh, right, sorry.
The first one that they played it at was at Tantrum House, and I saw that. Okay, the other one, Board Games Social Light Strategy game. The number one game was Creature Comforts from Kids Table Board and Games. This game looks so cool, and I had to buy it. It was one of the games I bought at Origins, and I bought it with some of the extras, and it's going to look perfect on our brand new upcoming nature map on our upcoming Kickstarter for Game Toppers. The thematic board game of the year was Dead Reckoning from AEG. I thought this was an amazing choice because this game is awesome. We love this game. It's perfect on our pirate map. And you know why pirate jokes are funny, don't you?
Have you finished talking? Is it my turn?
Our followers will like that. Okay. Children's game of the year. Honk from Sinister Fish Games. Honk. Sinister Fish. Honk. So that sounds like a goose. I don't know anything about this game. I didn't even see it. So there you go. Kabuki Kid. I love Kabuki. Okay. Game accessory. The winner is Deluxe Board Game Train Sense from Little Plastic Train Company. These little board, like for Ticket to Ride games, they're really cool. Game review. They actually had a reward for board game review, and it was Mind Management Review from RPG Core Rules, Coyote and Crow. 3D art was Cowboys with Big Hearts, Bully Pulpit Games. 3D art. I didn't see that one also. Then Origins fan favorite. Lucky Duck Games. Flamecraft. Flamecraft is beautiful. It's just the coolest little thing. I was actually talking with them. Scott Morris is a good friend of mine. They have toppers in their booth, and the designer of Flamecraft, and we're talking about doing a cool mat for their Flamecraft expansions and so forth. Best strategy game from Adam's Apple Games, Planet Unknown. Pretty cool. I liked it so much. I saw it in the GameFound booth. I've been hearing so many good things about this game before this was awarded. And then I saw it and I said, I got to get this. And they were running the pledge manager for the game. So I went and backed it. I'm very excited about this game. Hear a lot of great things. It's got kind of a Tetris mechanism with some of the center player board and all this planets. Games, card games. Scout from Oink Games. Scout's a super fun little trick-taking type of game. Played it at Tantrum Con with Loud Rob Rouse from Blue Peg, Pink Peg, and Brandon, and we had a blast playing it. Really good game. Collectible games, Magic the Gathering, Universes Beyond, Warhammer 40K Commander Decks, Wizards of the Coast. So, wow, it looks like there was 2 for that. Graphic design went to Pathfinder Savage Worlds box set, Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Miniature games, Lion Rampart, 2nd edition, Osprey Games, RPG supplement, Agents of Dune from Modifius. 3D art was Super Mutant Swan Modifius. So I'm just reading off the page there. Some of that didn't quite make sense to me because I didn't see them. But there you go. As always, I don't always get the chance to see everything that is in this hobby.
No.
Nor do I get to play all the games that are in this hobby, even the best ones that are nominated.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
You spend what? A good 50 to 80% of your time at your booth. And then 20% of the time business talking to whoever you think you can make business with.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I know what it's like.
Well, that's basically Origins was great. We sold out of all of our show kit stuff. We brought a few extra toppers. We had a lot of game mats, and we sold most of our game mats. It was a really good show. The Origins convention was close to pre-pandemic levels. Their high was 21,000 and there was 16,000 there. So all in all, things seem to really be coming back, and it was a really great show. I love Origins. I love the vibe. I love it's less chaotic, and yet there's a lot to do. So spent a lot of time playing games with my friends, A Secret Cabal, and we played Dubious. And if you listen to their Origins recap show, you'll hear some of those shenanigans that happened. But it was super fun, and I always love to go to Origins. Excited about going back next year, as we have a big sponsorship with them. We have like 250 Game Topper mats on that entire board game area. So it covers those old crappy wooden tables, and it's just like a wonderful experience for people. So I'm so glad to be a part of that. And John Stacy, the CEO and CEO of Gamma, has just been so great to us and value that relationship. So super excited about it next year. And with that, we'll go on to Barry's second one. This whole show is just dedicated to some of our convention experiences. So we cut out all the other stuff, and we use the phrase "cut out the crap." That's where it comes from for us. We create crap.
Oh dear, I'll sign off then, shall I?
That could be our new tagging. Berkey and Badger Board Game Babble show. We create crap.
Yeah. That might be a good segment, actually. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it might be a good segment. Or a good subject matter. Games that have. Yeah. Okay.
You can go on to your goodies now.
I can go to my goodies. Okay.
Yeah,
two things that I forgot to speak about at the beginning. You mentioned two things about selling out at the conventions. Publishers were telling you that it's on. A publisher that I know, who I saw at both conventions, told me at both conventions that they had sold out of certain amounts of their games, and they had to get them restocked because there's this kind of hunger. People still want the new shiny toy in the room,
yes.
And it's these new titles which are like hotcakes. So it's not just where you are; it's here as well. Going back to Essen last year, it was the same thing. Bombay sold out of everything practically within the first couple of days. So yeah, there is this hunger. And the second thing, the Locana. I don't think it was on sale at both of the events that I've been to, but there were booths where people could demo, and there were queues, and there was no pushing and shoving in those queues, which was nice to see.
Yeah.
So anyway, my second event, which I went to a couple of weeks ago, is called FLIP, which is the Festival Ludique International de Parthenay. Parthenay. Yes.
What does ludic mean in English?
Ludic is playful. Playful. Yeah. So it's a playful festival, a playful international festival of Parthenay, which is a village, which, as you can see here, has a population of 10,000 people. And where's that in France? Let's do the map zoom out. See, I've prepared all this. Where's Paris? Where's Paris? Where's Paris? Where's Paris? Where's Paris?
Cool.
There's Paris. So yeah, it's on the west coast of France, not far from La Rochelle.
A Kabuki kid. She says, I know a hair of Latin. She's so smart, actually. She said it means playing. You said playful.
Yeah. Ludic. When you say ludically, it's playfully. When you say ludic, it's play. Yeah. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, okay. There you go. So yeah, I went there because we were visiting. We actually took a holiday. We were in the area, and it's like the first time that I'd been to Parthenay. And as you can see from the program, you can. So right at the bottom there, it says it's the 37th edition, which means that it's the 37th year that they've done this.
Wow.
Okay.
Program.
Yes. So I've got a big program, and if you look at the dates, it's from the 12th of July to the 23rd of July, which is a long time to do a convention.
Yeah.
Okay.
11 days.
Yep. Again, this is an outdoor convention. Okay. I need to draw up the pictures. Here comes a map. Okay. Which takes place in the street. So this is in the city center of Parthenay. There's this big whole yellow area here, which is a tented area, a bit like Paris Ludique, where publishers have demo tables. And then there's also, as I said, these associations which have their games. And so people can just come along and learn a brand new game. And they have a tent for children's games, amateur games, mediocre games, and then expert games. They also have their prototype tent and all kinds of things. But as you can see, it doesn't just stop into this zone here. It goes down the road, and over here there are some shops, outlet units, which were empty. And so Gigamic, Bombaix, and Le Cachet, they all had like a little shop, and they were demoing in those shops. They decorated them out. I'll show you some pictures in a minute. And there were some other things that I didn't even see. There's like this Palace the Dungeon. There was some stuff going on there. There was something going on at the Église de Saint Laurent. There was lots of stuff going on all around the city. And this went on for 10 days. Now, you may be saying, yeah, convention, 10 days. No, I couldn't do that. But practically, it's broken down into two parts. There's the morning, which is all the streets are open, and then there's street entertainers. And then in the afternoon, all the demonstrators will go to the tents and stuff and the stores, and you'll be able to demo the games. And on the weekends, on the Saturdays and Sundays, they cover 2 weekends, so they do nights as well. So they go up to midnight, and people can just go and play and demo games. There, as I said, it's a city center, so there's families walking around. There's entertainers there challenging you to throw this into that hole and see if you can get 10 points and stuff like that. They had this big sand area. Again, they were doing sporting events. There were programs for each day. So like something would be going on this day, like a big tournament there. So there was a poker tournament. There was tournaments run by publishers. There was a mahjong tournament. There was this big center community thing, and they had computer games in there. And so they had all kinds of computers from old NESs to GameCubes and up to the PlayStation 5, some arcades. This is an image of inside the Bombayx store. As you can see, they got some tables. They put some big maps on the wall to cover up the decorations, and they were demoing in this store. Animators in the streets. This is the whole tented area. So like there was Lucky Duck games there was Gigamic, there was Asmodee demoing the Locana as well as lots of other things. There was Blue Orange, Haché, loads and loads of French publishers, Cocktail Games, Super Meeple, all in there demoing games. There was a big store as well in the middle there, so they were selling games. Again, the publishers were selling games in their own tents. This is inside again. This is the video games. This is the poker tournament, Winner Max, which is I don't know if it's worldwide or it's just French wide. Animators in costume in the street. There is the big Cocktail Games wall. They decorated the whole wall of this building on the outside. In Encore, the Bombayx store. The police officers that were patrolling took some time out to play a bit of Catch the Moon. But that Playmobil were there. Playmobil is like, I don't know if you have it in America, but it's like big Lego for younger kids. So they had like a booth where kids could just go in and play with all the Playmobil. This is Matthew, the owner of Cocktail Games, getting an award for the Wall of Game. I think the game is Twin It. But as I said, it's mainly families, kids galore of all ages playing dexterity games. There's some skateboarding. I don't know if that's a famous French skateboarder or something. There were, what would you call them? Where people talk to crowds.
Convention speaker, keynote.
Yeah,
speaker.
there was events there where publishers or designers would hold like a conference and talk to an audience about what's happened and what they're doing and things like that. And awards were given as well for, best game at the festival. But as you can see, it's in a street, a kind of rustic French street with bands and music and marching bands, but perfect. No wind, no rain, not while I was there. Cosplayers as well. Now, we were only there for like 4 hours out of 10 days because I was with my family, and my family got bored pretty quickly, unfortunately. Apart from my son was enjoying himself a lot, but it was like you had to play little kiddie games. We played some and my wife got bored. There was lots of, as I said, lots of dexterity games going on, all kinds of things. It was an eye-opener. And as I said, I never saw even all of it. There were cafes and restaurants everywhere. There were stores. We went on Sunday, so I don't know if it would have been busier or quieter on the weekday with the stores open and selling clothes, because this is in the street. It's
wow.
Yeah. But I was very impressed. A big area for the young kids, so they can play in sand pits, play with water, play with a Playmobil. There were stores everywhere. There were helpers and organizers everywhere, all in their uniforms, either trying to convince you to try something, play a game in the middle of the road, maybe a dexterity game, or maybe a little kind of fun card game where you got to try and guess people's personalities. But there were people there always jumping on you to see if you wanted to do something, see if you want to learn this game. Would you like to sit down and play this? It was amazing. Unfortunately, I didn't get time to spend a lot of time there and do a lot. And some of my colleagues that do work there only work like half of that. And they prefer not to do the whole 10 days there. So, David was there. Jan was there. My good friend Philip was there. It was good to see them all. So that was Parthenae. Flip.
So
As I
how many days did you stay total?
There,
Yeah.
4 hours of one day on a Sunday.
Oh, just one day.
Yeah, we were on holiday, visiting family, and I said it's in the area. I said it's an hour away, and she said, "Oh, the first day we get there, my wife says, let's go down there then." And then she was tired, and like, we should have gone later. We'd probably have had a bit more fun. But yeah, 10 days of tournaments and spotlights on different publishers and spotlights and interviews with designers. I got this big, 42-page catalog of all the events which are going on over the 10 days, where they're going on, what they're doing, who they're for. Yeah, Monkey, that's the game. With the wooden sticks, you throw them. Monkey.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. I just saw Grant Lyon was showing that game off in his backyard in Los Angeles. They have these little itty bitty yards, but they're throwing these sticks at them.
Yeah, it's a great game. I love that. I really do. But yeah, there you go. Again, if you're in France around that time, the end of July, there's 10 days of Flip, the festival Ludique International de Parthenay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, before we jump into our the last segment, I'm going to talk about my experiences just this last week at Gencon. Got a lot of stories to share, but I'm going to try to abbreviate so we don't keep too long me just droning on about my experiences. But there's just something about Gencon that's so exciting. Part of Game Toppers, which is our other sponsor of our show, is that it was in 2014 that I was introduced to this greater board game hobby. It's so funny because it came up on my feed, that first experience that Josiah and Trevor and Barry and I went to Gencon in 2014, and then subsequently started Board Game Theater, and then had the idea for the Game Topper in 2017, and then Game Toppers now is in over 18 countries in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore. We've got toppers in Dubai and Israel and the United Kingdom and Canada and the United States, Mexico, Brazil even. I mean, it's just amazing to me that it's taken off like it's taken off. But part of what we've been able to do is partner with a lot of different publishers in this hobby. And I cannot express my gratitude for all of the people that we've been able to partner with at these shows. Gencon was our first big release. Before we even went to market, I needed to know that this thing was going to work and that people would like it and that I could do what I say type of thing. So I made all these prototype toppers at my own expense to make sure that it would do what I could do. And Stefan Brachot, who was with Yellow Games at the time, the North American chief operating officer, I got this appointment with him, and I've told this story before, but he was at Gencon this year, and we talked about that again, and I see him, and my heart is so full. It brings tears to my eyes when I think about him buying those 7 toppers from us, and then he liked them so much, he bought 2 more, so it filled out the whole show kit. And at the biggest show in North America, I mean, Yellow has 9 of our toppers just loaded there and 18 other publishers. Well, that group has grown to over 35 publishers. Not all of them were there showing off their toppers this year. Things have changed some in that environment, but still there was a lot of them. We had like 14 publishers at Gencon showing off game toppers. And I can't thank Arcane Wonders enough, and Robert Geisinger and Brian Pope and the team there that has graciously allowed me to not only provide them toppers for their booth, which they purchased, but we were able to do 12 toppers in the Call of Duty room. And it was just a glorious experience. And for us to have that kind of exposure in one of the biggest shows in North America is so important. And so my heart goes out to all of the fine publishers that have helped us. So with that, Game Toppers is still continuing to evolve and trying to get better. We've got some amazing new things coming up on a Game Toppers Kickstarter 4.0. Barry, I sent you a message. We have the new Young Sherlock. And you can go to our site. I sent it to you in Messenger. You can go to GameToppersLLC.com and you can enter to win a Young Sherlock game table. This is our new table that's designed to be a rolling, movable table for in front of your reclining sofas, or to be a children's table, or to be like a puzzle table. Heavy duty 1,500 pound coasters. This thing can hold a Berkey, so I know it's really solid. And it has, this whole giveaway package is worth over $1,000. You can go in and sign up and do the things that allow you to get all these entries to win one of these bad boys. But the reason we're doing this is part of one of the offerings on our new Kickstarter 4.0 that we hope to be launching towards the end of September. We'll see if that all happens. We'll be notifying more and more, but it is an amazing thing, this new campaign. I just got a bunch of my prototypes in, some new bag storage solutions for your gaming mats, some new solutions that will incorporate with our mat racks, new bags. We have 10 new thematic game mats, and at Gencon, these mats were the hit. I would show people these and they go, Berkey, these are the best mats you've ever made. And I'm like, well, I really like the ones we've already made. But yes, I do love these new ones. I'm super excited. And there's 5 new thematic mats: Vincent Dutray, Ian McKellum, Amber Scarf, Xavier Ink Golem, and Yaroslav, some amazing artists, and Jay Staslawski for all of our 5 new terrain mats: Mars, and a battlefield, a water mat, space mat, and the desert dune mat. I mean, cool stuff. You'll keep in touch with us on Facebook, Game Toppers LLC, or Twitter, or X, or on our website, Game Toppers LLC. I don't know what to say. You don't tweet anymore. You repost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. So all that said, stay tuned for some exciting news. And I think people are going to really love it. GameToppersLLC.com. So Gencon. It's kind of a funny thing because my life has changed so significantly from that first Gencon, going as just the first time seeing all this stuff, and can't believe that this world exists. You know, I knew there was games, but not like this. I mean, now look at this picture. Ralphie and I are taking a picture in front of Lucas Oil Stadium. When you go into Lucas Oil Stadium, the whole floor is full of board games. This is where the Indianapolis Colts play.
It's amazing.
Now, I was a little disillusioned because I envisioned it being on the football field, but no, they covered it with these plastic locking covers and all that. So I was envisioning like a meeple getting lost in the turf. And then during the football season, someone gets smushed in there and they get up and they've got a great big meeple stuck to their cheek. That's what I was hoping would be happening, but I guess got to protect the players. But it was. I have some pictures on Facebook of the actual convention. There's one particular thing that I'm going through a post, and it's the one that says. Day 1.
Okay.
This is super fun. This shows all the different publishers: Lucky Duck Games, Academy Games, Mayday Games, Meeple Source, Arcane Wonders, Queen Games, AEG, Capstone, Renegade Game Studios, Scyther Gaming, and Board and Dice. That shows the Call of Duty table. So you can go to Game Toppers LLC Facebook page. It's the best place to see all this stuff if you're listening to the audio show and you really are curious about some of the new games that were being. This was my best way to represent that. When you go to the Arcane Wonders booth, the World Wonders was such a big honking hit. That's the Pope family, Brian Pope, his wife Althea, and his daughter Danielle, taking a picture with Ralphie. Look how happy they are. They love Ralphie. But you're on the wrong one, I think.
Yeah, I'm on all your pictures, so.
The Arcane Wonders, this World Wonders, there's Stefan that I was just telling you about, and Julie, Robert Geislinger's wife. And that there is part of the tour. But the picture I'm trying to get at is this one here. There's this big tower of World Wonders that they had 500 copies. I mentioned it earlier. It sold out in just a couple hours, but Robert Geislinger made this great big whole shits. And yeah, look at him raising his hands. And watching this tower deconstruct, it was just crazy. This game is really popular. I am blown away by it, but their booth looked amazing. Renegade Game Studios has some of our toppers, and they've got the new IP for the classic game Acquire and Axis and Allies. So I got to talk to Scott Gata, the owner, president of Renegade Game Studios. This here is the World War I 1912 game. I believe it's 1912, or is it 1914? I think it's 1912. I keep getting it backwards because I know 14 is the movie and all that, but no, it's 14. It's 14. I'm really intrigued by this. This really was a fantastic. Yeah, now we're on the same page. There was all kinds of. They've got 2 new Axis and Allies coming up. They have a new one that is in the G.I. Joe fantasy realm, and it's over a polar ice cap. And you've got Cobra trying to do some nefarious things to melt the whole ice cap, and G.I. Joe and them, but it still has the Axis and Allies format. So it's pretty interesting what they're doing with the IP. There's another Axis and Allies that is coming out, and I'm trying to remember. Hate that. There's another. Desert. The Desert Tunisia campaign is coming to Axis and Allies also. So I really wanted that game, and I was actually going to buy it, and then I couldn't. We drove with our trailer, so I could have done that. Then we move on to Boards and Dice, and they've got this new game. Yeah, isn't that gorgeous? It's called Nucleum. This game is #1 on the Board Game Hotness and Board Game Geek while the show was going on. We had it presented on a Holmes topper with the oak inlay, and it just looked amazing. Queen Games, of course, was demoing Marrakesh, which is one of my favorite Stefan Feld games, but they were also demoing the new Cusco, which looked really cool. I haven't played it yet, but it looked really interesting. So Kabuki Kid has a comment, by the way, about Axis and Allies. Tell us what you know. What does she say there? Axis and Allies 1914 World War I game also has been improved from the original printing about a decade back. They upped the pieces count, correct, because there was an issue when people would ran out of bits, especially some of the tanks and the infantry. That is correct. There was another thing that they did. Stay on that Cusco for a second. Then they also made some different mechanisms because of the trench warfare. When you roll the dice, you don't just keep rolling until you eliminate or until you decide to stop. You get to roll once. So it's more of that attrition battle that's going back and forth like the traditional trench warfare. Now, I don't know how much that slows down the game. I asked Scott particularly that, and he said no. He said, actually, it works really brilliantly. He thought it was really great. I asked him some questions about, all these IPs and all the things they're doing. And I said, when you've taken over some of these Hasbro titles, I said, you don't have to tell me, but was it hard to get the licensure? Was it hard? He goes, no, because we had already been doing things with them with the Transformers and different licenses that they actually came to him and said, hey, do you want this? Because they're focusing on the, 2 million copy run of stuff. And they loved the way Renegade was running with things.
That's good. That's good to know about HeroScape.
HeroScape, yeah.
Yes.
And Academy Games, of course, Uwe Eichert and their team. Uwe bought some of the toppers very first when we started. Again, such a good friend. Loves game toppers. He's always one of our biggest supporters. And I love his games. He had a lot of the new games out there. Their Stellaris is getting ready for fulfillment. but they're showing off a lot of their classic games like Mare Nostrum and 1775, which was one of my favorite games. Lucky Duck Games, they were showing off this new, I don't know how to pronounce it very well, but it's Cosmoctopus. Cosmoctopus. They sold out of this game, but people were clamoring for that game.
That's all I ever saw on Facebook is just pictures of people in this game. I was like, what? What is it?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't get a chance to play it, and that's the part that bothers me about going to Gen Con is when I first started in the hobby, it was about going as a gamer, and then it switched a little bit to going as a media person with Board Game Theater and our show, and I was more in tune with actual game mechanics and things like that, where I was focusing at least on those things and had a little more bandwidth and attention span to those things. Now when I go, I'm in such a business mode from meeting to meeting to people to presenting that I really don't have the bandwidth nor the time to even really pay attention. But I want to, I just can't seem to get it done. I played one game the entire convention, and the one game that I played was my favorite 2-player game of all time. Can you guess what it is? I know
Baseball.
You can. Baseball Highlights 2045. And Dan King at Origins, this fun story, Dan King was convinced that his hand was better than my hand. But Dan didn't make it to the finals. Sorry, Dan. So Dan says, we got to play. Well, we didn't have time at Origins to do it. He had the best record actually in the first round. You play against 3 opponents, and you have 3 drafts. So you get a total of 9 or maybe a few more cards, depending on what you buy. And the guy that beat him, I had beaten in the early round, and then I beat him again in the finals. Well, Dan thought his cards were the best. So if you find some pictures there of Dan King, that would be helpful because there's a little progression. I don't know where they're at and which ones you have. I posted a lot of different things. I think I might have made a movie of it.
You posted a load of photos.
I made a movie, went to California or went to Indiana and made a movie about Dan King getting his butt kicked. Baseball Highlights 2045. Dan is he really thought he had the hand, so he took a picture of his deck. I took a picture of my deck, and so we planned this thing out. We met at this little pizza restaurant over at the Hyatt Hotel, and we started playing. And it's just, I love Dan to death, so I'm all about joking here, but we love this game. We've played this online in the Fish House. That's how much we like playing it together. We played, and it was very close, a couple games, and then I started taking a little bit of advantage of him, and it ended up I winning 4-2 in the tournament. And so Dan had to concede that he was beating, and I can't tell you how many times he says, "Perky, I hate you. Perky, I hate you." All in good fun. So even though it was only an exhibition and the Ralphie Trophy was not on the line, we still proved that we were the best. Applause. There's no energy coming from Barry Dublin at all.
Because I'm looking for your photos. You talk about this, and it's like I have to scroll through these pages and pages of photographs. Well, I mean, from Gen Con alone, you've probably got over 100.
Well,
and
one of the
I know
events,
the picture that you're talking about. I know the picture you're talking about with Dan and the face that he's making. But it's
you can't find it
here.
Well, it's okay, Barry. If you go to Game Topper's Facebook page, you'll see the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Yeah. That's Origins.
And lots of.
That's Origins, though. That's the wrong show. Oh, you're just in my photo file. You're not grabbing my posts. That's why you're all screwed up.
I'm in your photo file. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not where you want to be. You want to be in my posts.
Oh.
Yeah. So, that being said, stop doing that. That's Origins. Those are way in the past.
But they're in the front. That's the thing I can't understand. They're at the front of the file. They're right at the top here.
Yeah, you're easier just going to my posts because I did them in order of what I'm going through online. Yeah, now right there. Stop right there.
All right, stop right there.
Not
there.
Well, you're in the right. I gotta believe people think we're just lost our friggin' mind.
If they're listening to the podcast, yeah. If they're watching the live stream,
who are
different kettle of fish?
These guys are nuts. So, the old spaghetti factory, rolling dice and taking names. Marty and Tony, super good friends of ours. I sponsor their show, but they've been friends of mine since we started in this hobby in media and then going to Game Toppers, all this kind of stuff. The old spaghetti factory, there's a post, if you actually look at my actual post, Barry, that show a whole bunch of pictures of the strike tournament. And the strike tournament is a tournament where you play strike and then you eliminate the table and they go on to the next table. Well, we sponsored it. We gave a whole bunch of game coasters from Game Toppers, a bunch of game totes. And then the winner got a $100 gift card and a Game Hall Game Topper bag. And the runner-up winner got a Game Topper Adler Watering Green Hex Grid mat. So super cool to be a part of that. But this event was great. 120 people crammed at the spaghetti factory. So much fun. Ralphie had a great time. He took pictures with everybody. But this tournament was Marty and Tony. They just did an awesome job. People were hooting and hollering. It was just it was the best way to start off that Thursday night. Then we move on from the tournament, and see, if you click on one of those posts, Barry, instead of just scrolling through them, you'll see like there's 18 photos. Those are the ones that you're going to see the actual photos that I'm going off of. But maybe it doesn't let you do that while we're live streaming. Like there, if you click the 18, yeah, that's what I've been doing. So that's why we're not syncing what I'm talking about and what you're showing. But anyway, moving on up, if you see the picture there with Over Battle, if you go back to posts. Yeah, see, we're a fly by the seat of our pants podcast. There, right there. Okay, Over Battle, the All War. I got to talk about this for a few moments. So what I need to talk about is my good friend Rob McBride is the designer of Over Battle, the All War. And we got to actually, Ralphie and us and Kelly, my good friend that helps at all my summer shows. He's a professor at Alexandria College. He teaches economics and has helped me for many years. We got to do a sleepover at Rob's house. He lives in Brownsburg, Indiana. Excuse me. Get to edit that out. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's all right. Was that breakfast?
Maybe. We got to stay at his house. We went to Shapiro's Jewish Delicatessen. We had this amazing meal. Super fun. Had great times hanging out with him, driving back and forth, and him and his great big honking Jeep driving through the back of parking lots to jump in the parking spot that he had parked a few hours earlier. Oh boy, shenanigans. And he's just jumping curbs. We're just bouncing all over the place. Well, Over Battle, he was demoing Over Battle there, but look down in the post. Look at this. The Headless Horseman. Mm-hmm. This is a game of people playing against the Headless Horseman, and you've got these cards that you're trying to make these jack-o'-lanterns. But there's this drafting mechanism where you're drafting cards. Well, we're at this dinner at St. Elmo's with Brian Pope, Sean Brown from Mr. B Games, who is now going to be a part of Mayday, the new Mayday games. Super fun story there too. But we're talking at this dinner about this game. And then Rob goes, well, there's kind of this element where you can maybe hate draft, where you know that guy needs the stem of the, or he needs the mouth, or he needs that of that card, but you have it, but you're waiting to get this other card. And there's this tension because you don't want the Headless Horseman to to get his head before the players get their head. So it's just really fun. The production looks off the hook. I didn't get a chance to play it. I just got a brief overview. We really wanted to play it with them too. And again, we're just running like crazy. We're at the dinner table and he says, and then Sean Brown goes, hate drafting? Yeah, you know where you draft, but you grab someone else's card maybe rather than the one you want, because you don't know that if he gets it. And then I went, everybody was hate drafting. It was fast as lightning.
Okay, I see where this is going.
Yeah,
Right.
see, that's where it was an inside. I was amused by myself when I did it. Okay. But it became a recurring theme. We just kept doing that about everything all night long. And we laughed and laughed. Had an amazing meal at St. Elmo's with the team there. It was just a fabulous joy doing that. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that. I think this is a really cool looking game. We'll see
Going
what
to
happens.
Kickstarter soon.
I think he's going to be bringing that to Kickstarter. I'm not exactly sure when. There's other videos there. I took videos of each of our publishers to kind of show you some. You'll see the day 3 post. It shows all of the crowds that were at Gencon.
Yeah.
And the outdoor stadium area where the food trucks used to be right across, but it was always hard to get across the street. And then it was super crowded. Well, they've moved all these food trucks into this huge parking area just adjacent to Lucas Oil Stadium. Well, it was awesome. Harriet and Izzy's, who have the kind of the sister restaurant to St. Elmo's, they're known for this shrimp cocktail with fresh horseradish. It's like, oh my gosh, this is the best horseradish ever. You get that hit and your nose goes, yeah, Barry's
Yes.
ears turn red.
Yeah, because there was just so much horseradish. You know, in England, horseradish is like mustard. And so you dip your little piece of meat into it just to give it a bit of flavor. But no. It's like you don't dip. You just scoop the horseradish with a little bit with shrimp in it.
Yeah,
and so
baby.
you got a mouth of horseradish.
Yeah, baby. It's the best in the world. It'll clear out your nose.
Oh yeah, it definitely does that.
Well, they had a food truck there, and so we got their little prime rib slider burgers, and it was really affordable. They were like $13 for the slider meal and fries, and then they had the shrimp cocktail there, and it was just awesome. It was super warm out. It was 9 degrees Fahrenheit, whatever that is for you.
32.
There's pictures of the floor of Gen Con. Got to see Jimmy Hudson there, of course, and Ralphie. They just loved Ralphie. Glenn Drover was there with Uwe Eichert from Forbidden Games, and got to see him. Ron Brown from Asmodee, or Jason Brown, excuse me, from Asmodee was there at the Strike tournament. And Stephen Bonacore, this is on the day 3 post. Stephen was there, so that was super fun. He got to welcome Ralphie, also Travis from Renegade Game Studios, and David Waybright from Man vs. Meeple, and Tony from Rolling Dice and Taking Names. So lots of cool stuff there. That Nucleum game was amazing. So he's saying wrap it up. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You're saying shut up and you're boring?
It's like you're
everybody?
reading out the credits for a film, and the second assistant director was John Bradley, and his assistant was
Thanks for the support, Barry.
yeah.
Mark Maya's with Board Game Coffee. I love Mark. We got to have several nights where we got together after dinner. We got to see him, and I saw him first at the show. And what was funny about this is I made my jerky, okay? And my wife said I was super busy Friday and Saturday preparing for the show. And what happens is she goes, "You're not making jerky, are you?" And I said, "Well, maybe you're right." Friday night I went, I got to make jerky. So I took out the pork loin and Saturday I mixed it up. And then Sunday I smoked it. 10:30, I'm leaving Monday morning. 10:30 Sunday night, I'm packaging jerky.
As if there was any doubt.
Well, what do? You got to give the people what they want.
Mm.
But Mark Maya, I gave him a package of the jerky. Well, he tells some other guy about this jerky. Well, it was Jason Brown from Asmodee that was at the spaghetti factory. Well, then we're at the spaghetti factory. He tells one of the head guys at Asmodee, and they're really interested in maybe doing something with us for their show and maybe our old mess mat. And it all happened over jerky.
Yeah, it's the best way to be.
It's just fun. There's other pictures there, I guess. But I think one of the highlights.
Facebook.
One of the highlights at the show, honestly, was just meeting all the people again. And as much as it was so chaotic, it's a incredible amount of work. I'm trying. My normal job doesn't go away because Gencon's happening. So I'm managing so many things at these shows that I'm doing. Josiah takes a lot of the load off, but yeah, just you're rambling. Kabuki Kid says it too. This guy, I get it. Part of all of this is trying to have so much in my head and so much in my heart. There were so many things going on. It's almost hard to do a concise overview of what happened. But there was so many amazing things. Doing all the publisher stuff, doing all the work at Game Toppers was one thing. But then having all of these connections with people that I haven't had. It was the busiest Gen Con that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I heard reports of 80,000 people. They came out with the official report saying it was 70,000 people.
All right.
But Thursday felt like any past year's Saturday, which is always the busiest. Thursday, it was people running, the running of the nerds, you know, that whole thing where they bust through the doors, people standing in line to get all the good stuff, first stuff. Last Light, Roy Kennedy's game from Gray Fox Games, they only had 30 copies a day. He was worried whether or not they'd sell. I said, well, if they're going to fly, baby. They were gone in 15 minutes every day. They could have, if they could, they had to air freight them at high, expensive prices, so they could only do a few, but every day they sold out. And this is the way it was with big hits like the Lost Ruins of Arnett expansion from CGE, sold out just like that. The water animal expansion for Arc Nova at Capstone Games, sold out right away. World Wonders for Arcane Wonders, boom. Flamecraft and Octopus or whatever it is at Lucky Duck Games, gone. I mean, there was so many of those type of things that just people were clamoring for, and you could not walk through the hall. And I can't tell you how many times I got busted in the cheek by a backpack, or a bunch of turtles walking around is what it is. Backpack sitting on your back 16 feet behind you, and that was part of the hall experience. But at the same point, it's really exciting to see that kind of energy and traffic. I mean, it was blitzed. So when we were talking about things that make the king go, I didn't see any regression. In fact, I saw anything but that. I saw everybody going for it. It was amazing. Then we moved into more of that relationship building things, afternoon, evening meals and friendship connections, and getting to bed late and waking up early and hoping you can maintain it for 5 days.
Yeah.
So long and short of all of that, that was my Gen Con experience.
Yeah. Lots of different experiences there. I will say that not all French festivals are outside. There is the Cannes festival, which is inside, but it is the same kind of ambience as you would find on the outside. But it's inside. lots of gamers, but it's very much like a Gen Con kind of building, but smaller. It's no way as big as Gen Con.
While we're at it, does anybody have any questions about Gen Con? I'd be happy to answer anything I may or may not know. If I don't know it, I'll make something up. If I know it, I'll tell you.
Put some jerky with it, it'd be fine.
Well, I did see Jan at the Matago booth. Got to talk to him for a little bit.
Yeah. I think you showed a picture of him. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I don't think I did. I was going, why didn't I take a picture of him? I had that with so many people. I go, why didn't I take a picture with these people?
Yeah.
We've got this new artist couple, Kayla and Brett Woodside from Woodside Illustrations, that are helping us with our new vinyl wrap rails. And I go, I didn't take a picture with these people. What's the matter with me? This just happened over and over. Okay, said Kabuki says, did they do that real dungeon thing this year? That LARP style thing where you walk through the dungeon and fight monsters? Yes, it's called True Dungeon. And that is held over at Lucas Oil Stadium. And it's done in the corridors. I saw pictures because Brian Pope and his family went. Now, Brian, he's elaborate in everything he does. He had this big band with all of the chips. Now, it was about 4 or 5 years ago, Brian paid to have me go with his family. And we went through this. It's like escape room stuff. But this year, the pictures that they showed were crazy, elaborate decorations and lighting. And, they'd have skull on the wall with a light flashing in its eyes and all these kind of things. But you've got your character and it's like you build it up. You like role player, you're leveling up your player with these different chips that give you armor or weapons or different things like that. But some of these chips are really expensive, $100, and some of them are $1,000. Well, when I went with them that one year, we won a couple of the experiences, and so that allowed us draws out of this bin. Well, I drew all of these chips out of there. And Brittany, who was with us, knew this game really well, and she helped the family with a lot of stuff. And she goes, do you know what you have there? You've got this undaunted armor or whatever. That's worth about $600, that chip. And then there was other chips that were $75 and $100. And I had some chips that were $20 and a bunch of $5 chips. And she said, your whole thing here is probably worth $1,000. I would have given it away to someone on the street for coffee, Yeah. I didn't know what it was worth. And her dad ended up buying the whole set for me for like $600. And I was, go make some money on it or use it, whatever. I don't care. But I couldn't believe it. It was like, what world is this that we're in, that people are spending hundreds of dollars on these chips to go do this experience? It was like, wow. So anyway, that did happen, and it happened in a big way. Big, long lines, crazy lines going through the corridor to go to the food trucks and to go to Lucas Oil Stadium. Tons and tons of people.
Wow. Incredible.
And then we got out of there. We were able to load in. We sat in the loading yard for 3 hours while Kelly was trying to put away tables in the Call of Duty room, and I'm sitting waiting. I'm doing social media. I made a Moments with Ralphie video while I'm sitting in the yard. So you can see that on Game Toppers LLC Facebook page, my personal page even. And then we loaded out, got done about 7 o'clock. We drove 3.5 hours to Bloomington, Illinois, rested for the evening, left at 9 o'clock that next day, and got home a night ago at 10:30 at night. Drove the whole day. And yesterday I worked, I tried not to work, but I worked till 2 o'clock and then took the rest of the afternoon off. And I've had a crazy morning already. So I'm exhausted. You can kind of tell by my discombobulated, non-prepared podcast here. She said, how much of Gen Con now is devoted to TTRPGs? TTRPGs.
Tabletop role-playing games.
I don't know if I could accurately tell you, but there's a lot of it. When you go to the Artist Alley, for instance, there's tons of authors, And some of those authors have got some of these role-playing books right next to them. And then you go to the booths, there's so many of them, even Gale Force 9, they have a Star Trek one. I think Cryptozoic had one. There was a lot of places, of course, Van Ryder Games, Renegade Game Studios has an offering too. I'm forgetting what it is. But yeah, it's big. I didn't see the Pathfinder room. I think they were there, but they didn't have a big presence in the main hall. And I didn't get around a lot of the sub halls. I mean, I don't remember a time that has been more chaotic for me and going from meeting to meeting to meeting. And then I just finished a meeting and Kelly would call me and says, oh, so-and-so just wants you to go over to their booth because they're looking at a topper or something, and boom, off I'd go. Yeah, so it was really I wasn't able to pay attention to the games. I've never had that feeling before. Even at Origins, I worked the booth a lot, but I was able to go check out some stuff, buy a couple things. I didn't. You know what my Gencon haul was?
Go on. 2248.
I got a commemorative Gencon cup that you could refill for $1 with Pepsi or Coke Zero. And then Kelly bought me this little Klingon sign that says, "It is a good day to die."
Yes.
That's my Gencon haul. I have a picture of it on my personal page. I didn't buy a game. Sunday, I was planning on picking up a few things. And one of the games I was super excited about getting was from DeVere Games called Three Ring Circus. Yeah, there's my picture. That's my Gencon haul. Can you believe that? Kabuki says, amusing to think that Gencon started as basically all war games and role-playing and now mostly board gaming. Yeah, because it was D&D and everything else. And it's become very much more board game centric. It didn't seem like I saw as many cosplayers as normal. There was some, but maybe I just wasn't in the right places. It's such a massive deal. So if you've never been there, I highly recommend it. But you got to realize this is one big honking spectacle, and it's a big event that if you don't like crowds, if you don't like that type of chaos, you might struggle with it a little bit. But on the flip side, it's amazing. It's such an amazing spectacle, amazing things that happen there. Almost any type of event. They had the Dice Tower Awards. I didn't make it to that. There was all kinds of stuff that happened at Gen Con that I didn't participate in, but nonetheless, it was super cool. And I'm glad to be home and try to catch up on my work and try to get some rest this weekend.
Good idea. Good plan.
So I think that's enough of me babbling. Yeah, it's not rambling, it's babbling.
Exactly. That's what we're here for, to babble.
I missed you there, buddy.
What? Where?
You wish you were going to Gen Con.
Oh, yeah. I was looking at the pictures on Facebook, and it was all I had populated. It was just like Gen Con photos from people that I know who've gone to Gen Con. And it was like bring back some really good memories of food, conversations, and just the atmosphere. So, but maybe another day. Yeah, maybe another day.
Yeah, I've been having some thinking about Essen actually. So
yeah,
who knows? Maybe a Berkey will make a flight.
Yeah, a vacation.
Well, with that, we want to thank our sponsor, Arcane Wonders, and go check out their amazing Kickstarter, Call of Duty, right now. Also, you go to their website, check out all of their other hot games, including World Wonders and Nepotopia, Furnace, Interbellum expansion is out. Gap is a big game that was selling really well. Also, check them out at arcanewonders.com. And of course, if you want to get an amazing deal on a package deal from Game Toppers, you can go to shop.gametoppersllc, but also enter to win one of our new products, the Young Sherlock. And you can go to our site and actually enter to win that for our upcoming Kickstarter, hopefully at the end of September. So with that, we are going to sign off from us at Berkey and Badger. Thank you so much. Join us on Twitter, Facebook, or X,
Spotify,
App,
iTunes, any podcast that you can find, we will be there. Libsyn. You can join us on Board Game Geek as well with our Guild 2248, Berkey and Badger Board Game Babble show, and find out when our next show is and come and join in the fun and chatting and pirate jokes.
Maybe you can put up a poll about which convention is your favorite convention and list all the big conventions. It can be international shows and domestic shows. It'd be kind of cool to see what people say.
Okay.
You got Board Game Geekcon, you got Dice Tower East, you've got the Gamma Trade Show, we've got Gencon, Origins, PAX Unplugged.
Yeah, you know these. Send me a list and I'll put him on the poll.
Flip.
I'm flipping.
All right. Well, we're so glad that you got to join us and listen to me thoroughly bore Barry. And we hope you come back sometime. Bye.
Ciao.
We're so glad we had this time together. And now it's time to go. It won't be long until we have another show. So keep us in mind, get online. Berkey and Badger will be back in no time.